Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there is a PayPal, Patreon, and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly though, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by Wiggles, The Plain Truth, Sleeping Warrior, Ranty Flat Earth, Jose JG Soundly Slayer Gonzalez, Frank, Chocolate Saiyan, and Arwin. Good to have you all.
Good afternoon.
Good day.
Good morning.
Good morning here.
Yeah.
I'm leaving on a jet plane.
We've got a couple of choices. Ranty was in the middle of a demonstration when I rounded out the last show, so my apologies to you, Ranty. I just ran out of time. Do you want to do housekeeping first or carry on with your example?
I think I'll just carry on with this and then we can do housekeeping if that's all right.
Yeah,
so we just had a concession. Sorry, we just had a concession from Jose. That obviously this is the angular slant, you know, the Arwinian slant that he was going on about for the past year, the optical. And we obviously have two inferior mirages proving that it is actually an angle as opposed to any kind of Earth curve. And then I went through a series of images, basically detailing, like in this particular one, as Blackpool Tower from my observation point here. As I look at Blackpool Tower, to my eye, the tower gets smaller the further it goes away, or the further I go away from the tower. It doesn't physically get smaller, but it appears to get smaller. And if we're looking through this critical viewing angle at 1 degree, let's put it at 1 degree, eventually the tower itself will be lost in that critical viewing angle, the same as with the boats that I was just showing you before. If I just scroll on to the next image, this red is just denoting how much of the tower is being blocked off due to the critical angle and the fact that the tower, due to perspective, gets smaller the further away it goes. And evidence with the two boats. This is boat in the foreground, sea truck panorama. Obviously, you can see that the bottom of it's hidden. If we actually put an inferior mirage on that, that would essentially look the same as the image back here with these two boats. So we can see the top part of the boat, the front part and the back part here, and yet the entirety of the boat is hidden behind the inferior mirage in that critical viewing angle.
Okay, so in this diagram that you had, that the slant up in orthographic view, if you're looking from a first-person perspective, you're going to see the floor ramping up along with everything on it. So what you're doing wrong in this diagram, you are burying that tower and sitting it in the not real live observation. If you're looking forward, you have to put that tower above that slant effect, not underneath it.
Why?
Because that's the way we see the world.
Really? We see the horizon rising up. So in an orthographic view, if you just draw a straight line and put everything on top of it, you've got no horizon.
Exactly.
Yeah, but we don't see the world in orthographic view. We see it in the first-person perspective.
Right, and what we see is it rising up, a slant, precisely as has been drawn and demonstrated for about a year by Arwin.
With everything on top of it, of the slant. It's not going to be under the slant. It's going to be everything above the slant.
Why? Things get smaller into the
Because
distance,
that's the way
Jose.
the
They
world
don't
works.
stay the same size.
No, things appear to get smaller, and everything is above the slant. Nothing is going underneath the
So
slant.
again, Jose, like on the last show, Jose, the 6-foot wall, when you back away from it, eventually disappears, doesn't it, Jose? So it's not going to be sat on top of that line if it's too small to see, is it?
hang on. Jose just said that nothing disappears underneath the critical viewing angle. Well, here we have two inferior mirages. Here we have two, and both of them are blocking out. So it can't be just one inferior mirage. It can't be a curvature of the Earth. It has to be an atmospheric blockage, which would mean
you got nothing. You got too much atmospheric effects in there. You got to choose a clean observation to do this example.
Sorry, you don't get a clean observation angle. You always have a diffraction limit. Always.
Yes. You
Show
always
my video.
do.
You can't see forever, Jose. The world doesn't represent itself in an orthographic view with a never-ending straight line and no horizon. The slant rises up to the midpoint of the camera. The slant rises up to the midpoint of the camera. That's a fact. That's what perspective does. And things do get too small to see. The bottom angle being the quickest to do that.
Nathan, don't so mad me. I'm not the 1% in orthographic view.
We're not. We're presenting pictures of the real world. We're putting it into Muppet Vision because you're a globehead now.
I don't agree with this orthographic vision.
You said the slant should have everything on top of it.
Excellent. Then, if he doesn't agree with orthographic, this is real world. This is a real world observation. So
real
we're not
No, but Randy's side view was only a demonstration. It was not a literal calculation. It was only to show you what's going on. It's not the real optics. It's just a demonstration, a diagram to show you what's actually going on.
Yep. And
it's
not calculated.
I'll make some drawings, some diagrams, and put up a video how the optical slant work in orthographic view.
Well,
like the real deal, not like Randy presented it.
Well, this isn't a diagram. This is a real world observation. This is an image taken from a video that you've actually seen before. So you know this video exists. You know that you can go and collect the same
many
image
like
yourself.
that. Many like that.
Great. So you know it happens then. You know that the bottom of this boat is hidden behind the atmosphere. You know the one in the background's hidden behind the same atmosphere. And you know that it must be on an angle because you have two inferior mirages.
I don't know what your conclusion is. Nothing can be concluded of these optical effects observations. You got to choose the clear observations.
But you conclude that
I don't.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Yeah,
these observations, since Randy put it up, I said this is a really bad
observation. So yeah, when you don't see it, it's curvature, and in this case, it's not curvature. So I guess that the shape of the Earth is variable. Sometimes it's a globe,
like gravity,
sometimes it's flat.
Curvature does what it wants. It fluctuates when it wants. We live on a handball. You're ridiculous, Jose.
Like, don't choose this optical effect.
I don't even understand you.
Just the clear ones.
All right.
I don't think I'm it.
You just believe that. You just believe that, man.
Yeah, no good to present these optical observations.
You say you want to.
Oh, mobile drop.
Yep.
This is why we cannot argue with a globe head.
Show my video.
Yeah, if someone wants to bring up Travis's video, I'd really appreciate it. He's on a mobile, so he can't do it.
Arwin, do you want to bring that up, mate?
Why is it always me?
I don't know why you always get lumbered with it, Arwin.
What's the video?
It's because you're willing, I think.
Where is it?
Travis?
It's on my channel. It's the last. It's the latest one. It should be the very first in the playlist, but I'm about to take off. So.
Is it called AT rig in the AM?
If he gets it up straight away, will you talk us through it, Travis?
As long as I've got coverage.
Excellent.
And really quick, I want to tell, I appreciate Randy's observations because you get down and dirty and you do observations and you're a good spirit for that. And I thank you for that. But I just not watching your channel, your videos because I got banned in your channel. So unfortunately, I'm not watching your videos anymore. Unless I see it in Nathan's show or Riley where I'm not banned, you know. I just wanted to say that.
Okay, Travis, which one did you want me to show?
It's like,
rig?
Yeah, it's like 17 minutes long. But if you want to skip past the first minute of which is my intro music, and just go to the first image that I.
Okay, hold on.
Travis, make sure you get a picture of all that curvature up there, brother.
I'm on an aisle.
It sucks. I always try to get the window.
Okay.
Yeah.
World space.
Right, Travis, can you hear?
All right. So go. Yeah. So go to the next go to the end of this intro, and I think I should have. Okay, so watch. That's a boat. The very next image is going to be the top of the oil rig. Right here. Right there. That's the very top of the oil rig.
This smudge on the left-hand side?
This smudge.
This smudge, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep. You can see it looks like a grasshopper is going to be crawling up over the horizon.
Gotcha.
So then, yeah, go right there, right there.
Yeah, it's coming.
All right, there it is. Same location. I have not moved I have not changed my elevation. I have not changed my camera position, and there it is. And then if you go farther into the video, I have about 8 stills in a row of different images of this same rig with different atmospheric distortion. But the point is that the very first image, all you can see is the antenna at the very top. So where's the body? Where'd it go?
Do you have at least one that is really clear? You should try to get one really clear.
Jose, it's the atmosphere, dude. I can't focus. You should watch my videos and see how my camera goes in and out of focus because the atmosphere is so bad it can't resolve what it sees. So what you see is what you get, bro.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to get really crispy, clear days. That's why I'm where I am.
Well, watch my videos. I've got everything from clear days with a lot of heat and not. So go about 3/4 of the way through this video to the stills, Arwen, please.
What? When? The previous part? This?
No, farther in, about 3/4 of the way through. Keep going. No, I don't know. It's a series of stills. I think that's toward the end. You might have gone too far.
Oh.
I just wind out with that rig.
That was pretty clear.
I've also got images of that lighthouse that you just saw that was pretty good in one of my videos, but yeah, I don't know. You're gonna have to fish for it. It's farther back, but not too far.
I'm a little busy. I'm gonna stay on mute for a while. I might drop.
Finally.
Oh, you should watch this. I think it's like 9 minutes and 25 seconds. Is that the mark there? What's the time marker?
Maybe just leave it playing from this point, Arwen. I'm happy to just let it play out if you are, Travis.
What's the time marker there? 9:25 has a really great visual. Oh, here it comes. Yeah. Watch this. Watch.
Put it 9.
It's right here. It's right there. It's coming up. That buoy. It's the same stuff that we see with Ranty. Well, the kicker is the still images that I've got of that because it actually gets stretched out so that it looks like it's a walking AT-AT from Empire Strikes Back.
Sweet.
Yeah, I think you passed the spot where it passed by the buoy, but whatever. I mean, you've seen what you've seen. At the very beginning, the oil rig is gone.
You've got to be careful not to draw conclusions from blurry photos.
They're not blurry. Yeah, this is toward the end. I just let it play out with this in the final show where there's nothing really significant with this except for the horizon. But you can see, I think, an inferior mirage there.
Sure.
That's the same.
Reflecting
that's the
down
same
on
oil
itself.
rig that I had with the looming unicorn. Okay, I'm taking off. See you guys.
You off, Travis?
Watch out for that Coriolis.
Yeah, thanks, Travis. Excellent imagery.
Yep.
Nathan, I wanted to ask you about your gas pressure claim.
Not a claim, it's the second law of thermodynamics.
Okay, so like I noticed in one of your videos, you said that you're starting to commit to the idea that there's a dome around Earth.
No. Do you want to get a quote?
Yeah, I got a link to the... I linked in the group chat.
Okay, do you want to quote it?
Sure, yeah. If I could play the video with audio, I would, but I don't know how to play with audio.
What were the words said, and what's your point?
Feel a straw man coming up.
So your flat earther friend says that you say that I can't commit to that dome.
So you're saying I commit to a dome by saying I can't commit to a dome. Is that your quote?
No, I'm
sorry, I'll ask again.
Accountable to
is my quote the words, quote, I can't commit to a dome? Those are the quotes that you're going to give as me claiming that we have a dome. Is that right, Wiggles?
Hold on, Nathan, hold on.
Not hold on, just yes or no. Are you misrepresenting a quote? Because it sounds to me like that quote makes it unequivocally clear that I'm not committing to it, Wiggles.
Oh, Nathan, your quote is, I know, I'm getting there. That was your quote.
Sorry, what the fuck does that mean?
Did you actually say that, Nathan?
Sorry, does that say, yes, there is a dome? Quote, Nathan, 2018, yes, there's a dome, Wiggles. Is that... what did you say the quote was? Yeah, I'm getting there. Sorry, what the fuck is your problem, Wiggles?
Wow.
How dare you? How dare you?
Wiggles, this was your angle, bro? This is what you came in here with?
I just want Nathan to commit to a dome.
Oh, I know you want me to commit to it. I couldn't give a crap what you want, Wiggles. You think we've got space.
Up to the idea that
you think we've got space, don't you?
Well, yes, of course there's space.
Oh, really? Well, that's a second law of thermodynamics violation. You can't have gas pressure without a container. Something to press upon. So space is an impossibility, Wiggles. You keep claiming pictures from space, Wiggles? Don't you?
There are pictures from outer space.
Yeah, outer space is fake. It cannot possibly exist. If space was there, we wouldn't be breathing because the gas pressure would dissipate into the vacuum. So this dome straw man that you have no quote to back up is nonsense. I don't claim that. You, as has been made obvious and clear right now, do claim we have a region that defies the second law of thermodynamics.
Well, Nathan, I mentioned this in chat, but I'm going to mention it now that I'm on the panel. Like, you're aware that the Earth's atmospheric pressure decreases with elevation, right?
Atmospheric what, sorry?
So the Earth's atmospheric pressure...
pressure,
decreases.
Oh right, something that requires something to press upon. Yes, okay, it decreases towards the top. So, does that negate the fact that at the top it would still need to press upon something?
Well, the pressure, it keeps decreasing. It actually
yes,
keeps
I know.
decreasing.
We've just conceded. Yes, Wiggles. Decreases. Does that negate the requirement to press on something?
Did somebody say dome? I think Nathan is
Shut
trying
up,
to say
Jose. We're done with you. Shut up, Jose. Don't be a troll. So, Wiggles, do I need to say it a third time even slower? Does it decreasing in... Let's get the word right. What was the word again? Pressure. Mean that it no longer needs to press on something. Third time I've asked.
Yeah, well, something at zero pressure doesn't need anything to press upon.
Sorry.
Where's that zero
so we have gas at zero pressure, do we, Wiggles?
Well, the gas gets, like, the pressure of the gas...
You're not answering my question. You're not answering my question,
zero.
are you, Wiggles? My question I'll ask for a fourth time. Does the decrease in pressure mean that it no longer needs to press on something, or not?
Well, if you're just going to like ask me like in like sensible people world, like there doesn't need to be anything for the atmosphere to press upon.
Oh, really? So it's not. So the pressure isn't pressing, right, Wiggles?
The pressure refers to the atmosphere pressing on the surface of Earth.
Does it really?
No.
Yeah.
So no, gas pressure.
everything.
My bad. You take over, Arwin. Clearly, I can't handle the situation.
Arwin, you're taking over?
I don't know. Probably not.
You're a bit hesitant.
I'm still caught up in that hilarious thing that apparently Nathan spilled the beans by saying, I'm getting there, and now that just means that that was so stupid. I can't believe it, actually.
What were you saying a minute ago about zero pressure in a container? Zero pressure not needing a container?
Yeah, I don't think that even exists officially anywhere.
Well, you can have vacuum chambers.
Yeah, well, zero pressure doesn't need a container because zero pressure is literally nothing.
Yeah, it's the absence of any particles.
Right.
Right. So
Like the vacuum. Like the vacuum, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, right. So let's not worry about what it's pressing on at the bottom. What's it pressing on at the top?
There's nothing. It's not pressing at anything at the top.
Oh, it must. It's a pressure.
Then is it gravity that's holding it down then?
It's a pressure. It must press to have pressure. Without the container, there is no pressure. Conspiracy Cats 2018. Or, let's put it another way. Let's use your words, Wiggles. The gas would fill the space. Wiggles 2019. So you're saying now that it doesn't need to press the pressure, that is. The pressure no longer needs to press.
Nathan, you keep misquoting me. I wonder how long you're going to do that for.
The gas would fill the space. That is the quote. I have it screen capped. Would you like me to get it and put it on screen like you didn't do with my quote?
You can if you want, but I mean, what I was
sorry,
doing was
so are you now denying that is your quote? Just deny it so I can put it on screen and humiliate you as a liar. The gas will fill the space, in quotes, 2019 Wiggles. Are you denying that quote?
I was following your logic.
I don't care what you were doing. In quotes, Wiggles, 2019, the gas would fill the space. That is a quote from you. I don't care your logical reasoning. Those were the words. That's a quotation. It has quotation marks around it. Are you saying that is now not true? Gas pressure doesn't need to press at the top. Even though gas expands in all directions, it only needs to press on the bottom, according to Wiggles.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, so the gas would not fill the space?
Exactly, yes.
Well, that's contradicting what you said in your quote. So gas does not fill space. That defies the second law of thermodynamics, Wiggles. Gas does fill space. Gas does fill the space.
You're familiar with that Einstein quote, right? Like the sign of an intelligent man is to be able to entertain an idea without actually accepting it. I was just entertaining your idea.
I don't give a crap. It's a quote. Like, I care about the reasoning behind the quote.
Entertaining your idea without
That's
accepting
lovely.
it.
My idea isn't an idea. I said it the first thing I said to you. It's not my idea. It's the second law of thermodynamics. Stop calling it my idea.
It's your misunderstanding of the
no, I don't misunderstand. The gas would fill the space, or without the container there is no pressure. This is Globehead explanations, not mine. So if you have a problem with without the container there is no pressure, take it up with Conspiracy Cats, or defy the second law of thermodynamics, because I assure you, Wiggles, the gas would fill the space.
Well, let's just assume that we're true and see if that leads to
No,
any
we don't
problem.
need to assume it's true. It's a law. There's no assumption required here. Sorry, I don't need to assume the second law of thermodynamics holds true.
Well, you're not saying the second law of thermodynamics. You're saying your twisted understanding of it, which is wrong.
No, I'm not at all. Entropy. The gas would fill the space.
Yeah, but like gravity.
Yeah, what do you mean, yeah, but? Yeah, the gas would fill the space. Outer space being that space that the gas would fill. It's not filling it because outer space is fake.
Well, Nathan, the second law of thermodynamics is referring to a system not under the effect of gravity.
Oh, really? Do you want to get citation, please?
This is just what it is.
Sorry, citation, please.
There's no dogma statement. There's no mention of gravity in like that professor's video that you linked. Like you have a video of an MIT professor. He draws a box on the chalkboard, and then he draws a rectangle, and then he draws a line through the middle of the rectangle. And he says, like, so you got gas in one compartment, vacuum in the other compartment, and then when you remove the barrier, the gas will fill the available space. There's no reference to gravity in that professor's talk right there.
Maybe because there didn't need to be.
Oh, sorry, my bad. There was also no reference to unicorns in there.
Right.
And there was no reference to unicorns as well.
No, there wasn't. So should we take into account the unicorns also?
We don't need to. Because
we don't need to take into account gravity either. He doesn't mention it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't need to take account of gravity in this.
No, we don't. No, entropy would still take effect regardless of your imaginings about gravity. Unless you have some scientific evidence of gravity, it's just a unicorn. Yeah, you laugh it up, Wiggles. So, do you have scientific evidence of gravity? And if you do, can you demonstrate that gravity maintaining gas pressure without a container?
Well, the Earth's atmosphere is...
Not your religious belief about what the Earth does. Can you demonstrate scientific evidence of gravity? And if you can you demonstrate that gravity maintaining gas pressure without a container? Don't assert your religious belief about what the Earth does.
Okay, here's my evidence for gravity. I'll turn on my camera.
It's scientific evidence?
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Well, before you show us anything, tell us the hypothesis.
Take a Rubik's Cube. It's very colorful.
No worries. It's scientific. So before I see anything, I want to hear the hypothesis.
Gravity exists.
Helium balloon.
Stop laughing and listen to what I'm saying to you, Wiggles.
Drop something.
Wiggles, you're not listening. If it's scientific evidence, I want the hypothesis first. Give it to me.
That all objects accelerate at 9.8 meters a second per second towards the center of Earth.
What's the null?
There's a force getting
What's
in
the
the
null?
way, right?
Okay, what's the null?
That there's no force at all.
Sorry, the null is the mirror opposite of the alternative hypothesis. Do you know how to formulate a hypothesis? Doesn't seem like it. Sorry, you don't have a valid scientific hypothesis. So what you're about to show us was not scientific in the slightest, Wiggles. You don't have a valid hypothesis.
It's what happens when you...
Sorry, I don't want your religious belief about it. I just asked if you had scientific evidence. You said yes. You don't. So do you want to take that back? Say, no, I don't have scientific evidence. Just my musings and religious belief.
Every time I've ever dropped something, it's gone towards the center of Earth.
Yeah, it's because it's heavy. It's more dense than the air it's passing through, you moron.
Have you ever let go of a helium balloon?
Yeah, all those rise, yeah. But the
so your example's just utter Mongol horseshit then, is it, Wiggles? So everything you've ever observed went towards the ground, except the things that didn't?
Well, yeah, I gotta be careful, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta be careful when you start talking shit about gravity, because someone on the panel might ask you if you've ever dropped a helium balloon and make you look really stupid.
Yeah, you got me there. I should have been more...
Yeah, we have got you there because you don't have any scientific evidence for gravity, and so far you've asserted that gravity is defying the second law of thermodynamics. So let's just concede, yeah, you dropping something doesn't prove gravity, there is no scientific evidence of gravity, therefore gravity is not an explanation for the fake medium of space.
Oh boy,
Oh boy! Yeah, I'm really screwed here, aren't I?
When you drop things, they fall.
Yeah, because they're more dense than the air. So when you drop a helium balloon, does it fall? Didn't we just do this?
Yeah, but why does it fall down and not up?
Sorry, does the helium balloon fall down?
Wow, Wiggles, man.
Does the helium balloon fall down, Wiggles?
Okay, so Nathan,
answer me, yes or no. Don't ask me something, answer my question. You've just asserted that things fall down when you drop them. So,
yeah.
Did the helium balloon go down?
Well, no.
Oh, right, Wiggles. So let's not worry about your Gish Gallop ad hoc explanation that involves this pseudo-fictitious force that you have no scientific evidence for and can't even give a coherent example of, because when you state that things drop, they don't, do they, Wiggles? So let's not worry about this bullshit of gravity. Let's worry about this fictitious region of space.
Well, Nathan, why did the denser things go down?
Relative density.
Yeah,
they don't.
Down and not up?
A helium... We've just done this 3 times.
Yeah, but...
3 times. Helium balloon, dickhead. Are you deaf?
Yeah, but like you're just saying...
Are you deaf? Are you deaf?
Nathan, you're saying the denser...
Are you deaf? That's my question. Clearly the answer's yes.
How does the denser thing know which way to go?
Sorry, why are you asking me this? You've just said I drop things, they drop, that's gravity. Then we say helium balloon and you go, oh, you got me there. Why are you still using this shit example?
It's a valid, I'm asking you a valid question, Nathan.
Don't ask me anything. We're still talking about the vacuum of space that doesn't exist, that defies the second law of thermodynamics. That's what we're talking about. Don't ask me about buoyancy and density, because you've asserted gravity does this. I don't want a conversation about relative density. You don't drop things and watch them fall, do you, Wiggles? So let's move on from this nonsense and get back to the vacuum of space. You don't have pictures from a fake region that cannot exist because it defies the second law of thermodynamics. Your explanation of gravity has failed.
Well, we do have pictures from outer space.
No, we don't. It's a fake medium. How can we possibly have pictures from a fake place?
Well, I mean, like,
who took
when you're saying something wrong, I'm just going to say the right thing. Like, we're going to have to go a bit deeper in this, Nathan.
Okay. I've got pictures of Narnia. Do you accept that Narnia is real?
Well, let's see your pictures of Narnia. I'm a skeptic. I'm going to demand...
Nathan, you're arguing from denial, Nathan. You're arguing from denial.
Let's just assume that we... Sorry, does anybody on the panel not know what Narnia is?
Oh, I've got a mermaid as well, Nathan.
Please go with me.
Land in the
does
closet,
anybody on the panel... Why are you so uncooperative, panel, today? I don't get it. Does anybody on the panel not know what Narnia is?
It's like a land in the closet, right?
So you do know what Narnia is then, Wiggles? The one person that I thought wouldn't give me the concession has. Excellent. Moving on swiftly. So you know what Narnia is then, Wiggles? Excellent. So you appreciate that there are photographs of Narnia without demanding that I dig them out. I'm not demanding you dig out your bullshit pictures of space. I know there's pictures that you claim come from a fake region. Now I'm saying there's also pictures of Narnia. So, are you going to say that unless I produce a picture of Narnia, you're not going to accept it, but you will if I do?
There's also pictures of Bigfoot, but it's widely accepted that Bigfoot does not exist. Like,
oh, right.
Just
well, there's also pictures of space, and space doesn't exist.
Like,
yeah, you kind of just shit it all over your own point.
Yeah,
I don't know if you realize
assuming
that.
you guys can think critically here.
Oh,
like you gotta
by
look at
shitting on your own
is
point.
This really real, or is like you
by
gotta,
shitting on your own point, you're okay. Have fun with that.
Yeah, we don't need to think critically. We've never been there or experienced it, have we, Wiggles? We've only got these photos to go on, and I've drawn a comparison between another fake place called Narnia.
You might be trying to shit all over Nathan's point, but you actually hit the fan and it blew it right back in your face.
Well, we can talk about metaphors about which argument is getting shit on, but I mean...
oh, that's very easy. You don't have any. You don't have any. None. I haven't heard any argument from you.
I mean, you just tried to say...
One. Only unfinished starts.
You just tried to say that you have pictures of space, and that was going to be your proof. And then you say, there's pictures of Bigfoot, but that doesn't mean it's real.
Yeah, you got to use your mind.
Oh, okay, so that means there's pictures of space that don't mean it's real, right?
They could be real or fake.
Oh, they could be, but that doesn't mean that they are, right? Oh, okay.
So they could be real or fake, Wiggles, right? Well, then we need to look beyond the pictures, don't we? And start examining maybe the region that the pictures were took from. So, Do we all believe that we can go through a wardrobe and take pictures? No. Do we believe that we can defy the second law of thermodynamics? No. Both places, both fake.
Well, the point I really want to address, Nathan, is that you're saying that gas pressure needs a container to, like, you need a container to have pressure.
Something to press upon. Yeah, that would be part of the second law of thermodynamics. Without the container, there is no pressure.
Yeah, so Nathan, you're saying that Earth must have a dome around it to keep the atmosphere
so we're back to this straw man.
Have.
Sorry, do you want to get a quote? We're back to this asshole straw man that you came in with. So get the quote, read it out with quotes around it.
So Nathan, it's not a quote. What it is, it's
it's just your fucktardery misrepresentation of me then, is it? So you don't have a quote. I've got loads of quotes. Conspiracy Cats 2018. Without the container, there can be no pressure. Without the balloon, there is no pressure. Or Wiggles 2019. The gas would fill the space. Those are called quotes.
As I have said, I was entertaining your idea without accepting it.
I don't give a crap. That's a quote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me
so you haven't got a quote for me and want to decide what the interpretation of a quote you don't have is, while simultaneously saying, I was thinking something else, while you quote my exact words. Right, Wiggles? That's a very fair standard you've got there. I'll just say something, and then after the fact decide that I mean something totally different, or that I was actually thinking about someone else's argument when I said it. Because that's obviously going to be contextualised within those quote marks, isn't it? That you don't have for me.
It's an immediate logical consequence of what you said, Nathan.
Oh, really? Well, the theoretical consequence of what you said, the gas would fill the space, in quotes, Wiggles 2019, would be that the gas would fill the space.
You know, we've been through this before, and I know how it turns out, so I got another question for you, Nathan.
How does it turn out?
Well, it turns out like it does. Like, you say that I'm straw-manning you, and that's really...
The gas would... Sorry, these are your own words, so you feel that my use of your words is a straw man?
I was like, when I say that you're saying that there must be a dome, you say...
I didn't say there must be a dome. Those words have never crossed my lips. The words that crossed your lips were, the gas would fill the space, in quotes, Wiggles 2019. Misrepresent what I have said and lie about something I have said again, Wiggles, and I'll kick you out. Stop lying about what I've said. You don't have a quote. I have not said there is a dome. You are lying.
So, can I ask you like a question like beyond this then, Nathan?
What? Beyond what?
Like, do you know that the Earth is round and you're just pretending that it's flat?
What the hell are you talking about? We're on the subject of space. That is a second law of thermodynamics violation because the gas would fill the space. In quotes, Wiggles 2019. So we have gas and you think we have space. Well, Wiggles, the gas would fill the space. Quote, Wiggles 2019. Do you want to get around that with some sort of explanation that defies your own words?
I mean, like, you're having a lot of difficulty with this, so it's either intentional difficulty or you've got to know that the Earth is round.
We have a lot of difficulty with you actually answering straight a question without red herring us all for hours and hours and hours for a year.
Wiggles, can I ask what was the scenario in which you said that? Basically, when you said the gas would fill the space, what was the scenario you were picturing when you said that?
Yeah, the scenario was I was entertaining Nathan's idea without accepting Nathan's idea.
You were entertaining it.
Yeah.
Not my idea. It's the second law of thermodynamics. For the third time. This is not my idea. Why do you keep saying that?
Well, because you're misunderstanding the second law of thermodynamics, Nathan.
Okay, so do you want to take me to a citation that explains how the gas would not fill the space? Take me to that.
No, in the video that you cited the professor, Nathan, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, right? Like, you cite that MIT professor who draws the rectangle on the board.
Sorry, do you want to give me an example of the opposite You're saying it's my idea, not the second law of thermodynamics, and that somehow I've misunderstood. So take me to the example where somebody, or there's a reference or any example where the gas does not fill the space beyond your religious belief of Earth.
Well, we're talking about Earth's atmosphere. Like Earth's atmosphere is the example of gas under pressure without being like fully contained. That's all you're going to get.
Oh, really? No, that's your religious belief. None of us have experienced that, Wiggles. That's just a religious belief that you're trying to prove. So asserting your religious belief, precisely what you've done every time we've had this conversation thus far, when we get to the end of the conversation, you assert your religious belief again. The thing that you're trying to prove. So do you think by asserting that Earth has gas that defies the second law of thermodynamics, that's proof? No, that's your religious belief that you're attempting to prove, and I'm quoting the very words that came from you that defy this. The gas would fill the space. In quotes, Wiggles, 2019.
Yeah, like I kind of gave up on trying to convince you that like the Earth's atmosphere is like held down by gravity.
Yeah, well, scientific evidence. Oh, back to this. So we drop something and it goes to the Earth. Helium balloon. Should we do this for 10 minutes again?
We can, yeah. Like, my question, Nathan, is how does the denser object know which direction to go in?
Sorry, the denser object?
Yeah.
Oh, well, what do you mean, no? It's just dense, more dense than the air it's in, it'll fall. Helium balloon, less dense, goes up. So this is everything to do with its density then. Relative density.
Yeah, but where do down and up come from?
Sorry, what does this have to do with the vacuum of space? Does it prove gravity? No, it doesn't. Does it prove the vacuum of space? No, it doesn't. So either this is a straw man, or you're just a circle-jerking asshole, because we've already covered this.
No, but it's very important that, like you're saying that there's no such thing as gravity. It's just things are different densities, and that's why they move in different directions. But how does the denser object know which direction to go?
Sorry, what does this prove space?
No, this is your...
So who cares? Let's not strawman me, please, Wiggles. Let's worry about your claim of photos from a region that cannot possibly exist.
Actually, for fun, do you want to pull up? I can pull up those photos and we can have a look at them.
Sorry, we're trying to prove the region that they were taken from. You want me to bring up the pictures of Narnia so you believe we can walk through a wardrobe into a magical land, do we? Or should we prove first that we can travel to this magical land? Do we want to just negate that step and go straight to the pictures of Narnia? Sorry, I mean space.
Yeah, let's go to the pictures.
Straight to Narnia then. We're just accepting that we can walk through a wardrobe into a magical land.
Well, we can just look at some photos.
Sorry, answer my question. We are now accepting that we can walk through a wardrobe into a magical land and having a look at the photos. Because the bit about going into the magical land we're just going to accept because Wiggles demands it. Right, Wiggles? We all believe in Narnia now. We can get to Narnia through the wardrobe, right, Wiggles?
Well, we're going to Narnia, but then we're looking at Earth.
Yeah, we're going to look at Narnia through the wardrobe.
We're going to look at Earth from Narnia.
Yeah, we're looking at Narnia through a wardrobe. And we're just going to accept that we can go to Narnia, aren't we?
No, we're looking at Earth from Narnia.
No, we're looking at Earth from a fake region called space.
Okay, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, a fake region that can't possibly exist and you can't take photographs from. Like Narnia.
Yeah, so can you see these?
No, I want to know about the region they're taken from, because obviously if the region doesn't exist, then the pictures are ipso facto fake. Yeah.
Well, space can exist.
Yeah, I would need to prove Narnia before claiming the pictures from Narnia prove Narnia. So I need to prove first that we can travel through a wardrobe before I start presenting pictures as evidence. If I don't accept the concept of being able to travel to Narnia, no one's going to accept the pictures that I present from Narnia, are they? They're going to say that was taken in Scotland. And I'll say, no, the pictures prove you can go through a wardrobe. That's what you're trying to do. The pictures prove we can have a second law of thermodynamics violation. No, they don't.
I'm just curious, can you see the photos on
I'm
my
not
screen?
putting them
I'm
up
screen
until
sharing
you
it.
prove how we can have gas pressure without a container.
Gravity keeps the atmosphere down.
You don't have any scientific evidence for gravity. You have asserted that you drop something and it goes to the ground, and we've demonstrated clearly with a helium balloon that that's not the case. And then when you say, well, why do we have relative density? Not gravity. Not asking me to explain that. Why do we have relative density? Who cares? Sod all to do with Narnia.
Okay, so yeah, that's a fun circle to go in.
No. So the circle jerk would be me saying, well, we can have magic wardrobes. Do you not accept the magic wardrobe? That's your gravity. My magic wardrobe is the equivalent to your gravity. So just accept that there's magic wardrobes, okay?
Yeah, let's just well, let's not accept. Let's just like suspend the question of whether or not there is outer space, and just like look at these photos.
Why? That's the
because,
question
like,
on the
there's something
table.
interesting.
Let's just suspend the table question. The question on the table about whether or not space is real, let's just ignore that and have a look at the pictures from the fake region. Right, Wiggles? No. Prove that you can have gas pressure, the bit we experience, not the space bit that we don't experience, that you've got these photos from, not that you took them. Yeah? First prove how we've got gas pressure. The pictures were taken from a vacuum. Why hasn't all the gas pressure that we're breathing gone into that vacuum? You're going to say gravity again? Something with no scientific validity?
Well, Nathan, you're not going to accept any proof I give you, so...
You haven't given us any. What have you given us as proof? Dropping a bloody stone?
You're not going to accept any proof I give you.
What have you given me? What have you given me?
I just wanted to raise
what
the
proof?
Point, like
You're making it seem like you've offered me an abundance of proof that I'm now just ignoring. You have given me no proof. None.
Okay, so the point
not okay.
Like, when I brought up these photos a couple of weeks...
not okay. Don't just say, oh, okay, then I've given you no proof. That's okay. No. Give me some. Don't just assert I've given you all this proof and you haven't accepted it. You've given me jack.
Oh, I'd just like to point out that it's quite ironic that this in the beginning, like I think the beginning of Debate 700 earlier today, like the first one, you like the guy was remarking how you don't cut people off. And
Sorry.
That's kind of ironic. You're cutting the hell out of me right now.
Because you're not answering me. We've gone round and round in circles 3 times. We've covered the same thing 3 times. And your assertion is, I've given you all this proof and you haven't accepted it. That's not the case. You're going to damn well be sure I'm going to talk over you when you make up crap. Like you claiming I've got a quote about us having a dome, Wiggles. You can be damn sure I'm going to talk over that shit. No, you don't get to just lie here. No, you don't have any evidence or proof that you've presented. No, there is no scientific evidence of bloody gravity holding gas pressure next to a vacuum. You can't demonstrate any of this. Yet you have just asserted that you've presented a load of proof. Outrageous. You're just a liar. And you're moaning about me talking over you.
Yeah, but anyway, so like the point I was trying to just get the point out, like the reason I brought up those photos from space was that like there's 2 different satellites, right? Like there's one of the photos was taken from the ISS, another one of them was taken from Himawari.
Wiggles, you are now telling us about photos from a region I have just debunked. So you are going to completely ignore the fact that space cannot exist and continue to assert that you have pictures from a fake region, like Narnia. So this is why I'm talking over you. You have ignored every word I have said and are now saying, I'm going to show these pictures anyway. Right, Wiggles?
Yeah, because I wanted to bring up the point that, like, if like you're saying these photos are fake, well, 2 independent like bodies like came up with these photos. One of them was the Himawari satellite, another one was the ISS. And like I just as a test, I looked at the same at the same time and same location. I saw what
location?
Picture they were seeing of Earth.
What location?
49 North, 117 East at 5 a.m. Universal Time, August 30th, 2016.
And that's where the Himawari was, and you went and look at it.
Sure, yeah.
So are you saying that you think that it's feeding real-time video of from these Himawari satellites?
Well, the Himawari satellite just takes a photo every interval.
10 minutes?
Something
no,
like that.
No, it doesn't.
Once every 10 minutes.
No, it does not. It's not
Well,
in a feasible medium. Why are we now discussing the Himawari and what it does? Space is fake. It can't possibly be there. You can't have gas pressure without a container. Why are we now discussing this fake medium and what's in it?
Well, because my point is, there are videos where you show it shows how they gather all this data, and it's just layers. It's not an actual picture from space. They have different layers. They have a composite image of the Earth they used, and there's one layer that shows the termination line from the sun, and there's another layer that's gathered from probably the same technology they use for Doppler radar that they use for measuring weather patterns, and that's pretty accurate. And they just add all these layers on top of each other and present them one image every 10 minutes. It's not a picture. It's many layers of different types of data.
While that may be the case, wherever they have been produced from, they have not come from space.
That is true.
Well, there are actually like photos, just like plain photos, no like composites.
From where? Space? Well, then they're fake. If they're claimed to have come from space, they are fake, because you can't have pictures from a fake medium.
Now, the point that I was in bringing up those photos was that like two independent, as like a check, like I did a check to see like if these are really taking a picture of the same Earth, then at that same instant in time and same location, the cloud formations should be the exact same. And the cloud formations were exactly the same.
That's called a formal logical fallacy known as affirming the consequent. If the cloud formations are the same from both the Himawari and whatever bullshit satellite is claimed to be in a fake region of outer space, then the Earth pictures must be the same. The Earth pictures are the same because they are both conforming to the same data. That's a formal logical fallacy known as affirming the consequent. If P, then Q, Q therefore P.
So if I look up Doppler radar images for the weather patterns in my local area, and they happen to match what is actually being shown, does that mean the Doppler radar pictures are images from space?
Oh no, I'm not. This doesn't prove something. It just is a test that would show that there was a contradiction there. Like I'm looking for a possible contradiction. If the cloud formations were different, then I say, well, okay, then something's up here.
No.
That would
No, they're taken from a fake region. Don't worry about the cloud formations. They could just easily replicate them like I can replicate Narnia out in a region of Scotland and just say that I've gone through a wardrobe to get there. Like you're saying that you've gone into a region that can't exist to take these pictures. You still don't seem to be getting it. You're ignoring my debunking of the region the pictures have come from completely, Wiggles. You keep reasserting that you want to make your point regardless of the problems revolving around the region that they're taken from. You're just ignoring that, right, Wiggles? Moving on because it doesn't fit with your example.
I just posted a link in the chat that shows the video detailing the Himawari layers.
Well, it's a Mark Sargent video, so it's from a flat earther. Can't trust it.
Right, but we can trust the region that defies the second law of thermodynamics,
right?
can we? So we should just ignore all of our objections and trust that you can defy the second law of thermodynamics in this region no one's going to. You've not been there. You saying you've compared what the Himawari does. You haven't. You haven't been there. You don't know that space is real. You haven't got the vaguest clue. It defies the second law of thermodynamics, but you'll defend it to the hilt, or at this stage, just completely ignore that objection and move on to the pictures anyway, and start picking them apart, even though they can't possibly be real.
Well, let's address that that you think space violates the second law of thermodynamics.
Oh, really? What like we've been trying to do for the last 50 minutes? Yeah, sure. Yeah, no worries. You can't have gas pressure without a container. The gas that we all breathe needs something to press on. It's pressure. That's what defines it. So at the top, Wiggles, of your belief in a vacuum, what's the gas pressure pressing on?
It's not pressing on anything.
Well, then it can't be here. it would dissipate into the vacuum. The gas would fill the space, Wiggles 2019. If it's not pressing on anything, it's going to disperse, Wiggles.
Okay, yeah, so for clarity, Nathan, I'm going to now entertain the idea that you are saying.
It's not my idea that I am saying, it is. This is probably the 6th time I've said this on this show. This is not my idea. It does not need entertaining. It is a law of nature. Not my idea.
But Nathan, don't you think like all these professors would have picked up on this if there were a contradiction there? Don't you think all these professors who study the thermodynamics, entropy, wouldn't they have picked up on this?
They did. I've got a video out from an MIT professor that explains that if you have gas pressure next to a vacuum and you don't have a barrier, the gas fills the space. So it seems they do know this, Wiggles. It's a law. A natural law. Not my idea. Not something that needs entertaining. A natural law. The gas would fill the space.
Yeah, wouldn't all these professors realize that
yeah, they do! Are you deaf?
Modern science?
Are you deaf? There's plenty of lectures on the second law of thermodynamics.
Yeah, if the second law of thermodynamics implied space doesn't exist.
It does. That's precisely what it implies.
It implies space does exist?
No. That if you have a vacuum, a vast space, then the gas would fill that space. Unless, of course, there's something to press upon. There isn't, so we can't have space. That's the point. Well done, Wiggles. That's exactly what it implies. That natural law. Not my opinion, not what I think. That natural law that holds true always. That natural law would suggest that space is fake. So, do you have something that contravenes that law beyond your religious belief of space? Or is that your only proof that you can defy this natural law, your religious belief in space?
Okay, so Nathan, if the second law...
Seems like you're asking me a question. Do you have any proof beyond your religious belief about what Earth is and what space is that defies this natural law that holds true always?
Nathan, it's like you're stuck here. You can't get past where you're like stumbling over your own belief.
Well, it's not a belief. 7th time on this show. Repeat after me, Wiggles. This is not my belief. It is a natural law.
It's like you're stumbling over your own belief.
Not
like,
stumbling. Quite clear, quite concise, very slowly paced. For you, Wiggles. Not stumbling, Wiggles.
It wouldn't the professors pick up on that the second law
that seems like you're stuttering. Are you projecting your inability to hold a decent sentence together onto me, Wiggles? Because it seems that way. We have covered twice. I have a video from a professor at MIT who explains that if you have a vacuum and you have a gas pressure, precisely the setup we have in your religious belief about Earth, then the gas would fill the space. So when you ask me if the professors would have picked up on this already, I say yes. I have a demonstration of somebody explaining the law of thermodynamics and how if you have a vacuum next to a gas pressure and you remove the barrier that apparently we don't need in the heliocentric version of the world, then the gas would fill the space. So given that we still have gas here, I would assert that you can't have a vacuum of space, Wiggles. It defies that natural law discussed in detail by the professors that you are asking if they know this or not. Yes, Wiggles, they know that there is a natural law called the second law of thermodynamics, and it dictates that the gas would fill the space. I don't believe I stuttered or stammered once in that explanation, Wiggles. Maybe you'd like to respond to the very specific things that I actually said.
Yeah, so wouldn't the professor have also picked up on this?
Sorry.
He just explained to you the professors saying exactly the same thing. Nathan
yeah, but like,
saying.
okay, or the other thing I should add, like Nathan, do you think that the professor thinks that outer space exists?
I don't care. I have played his exact words on a video that explains how if you have a vacuum and a gas pressure next to each other and you remove the barrier, then the gas fills the space. That's what he explained. Did he quantify it in terms of outer space? No, Wiggles, I'm doing that. Did I go and ask the MIT professor? No, Wiggles, I got it from a video. Does it matter what the professor thinks? Not really. We're not criticising what the professor thinks. It's a natural law.
He's trying to ping on you that because you're saying professor's saying that, therefore extrapolating that they are flat earthers. He's just trying to hang it on you. We don't care what professors think. We just follow the natural law. Hey, I have a question for you, Wiggles. You seem to be, and I've struggled with this as well. I've been in your place. There's an understanding that an atmosphere, if we're taking into consideration the gravity, is held by the gravity. Well, if that was true, wouldn't therefore you could repeat that experiment on the ground, having to do with gravity and differential pressure, where you can take a cylinder filled with atmospheric pressure and then expand it like a syringe, you know, have a cylinder inside a container and trying to expand it and hold it upright to the point where you have a condition inside the cylinder close to a vacuum. Close to, but you still have a pressure there, right? You like a very low pressure. Let's just say a very low pressure. So you're going to have to exert a lot of force to get that cylinder to that state, to expand, to lower the pressure. I mean, it requires a lot of power. I don't know how much you know about industrial vacuum pumps, but I suggest you look into it. But if you hold that cylinder upright, are you saying that at the top, on the inside of that cylinder, you're going to achieve vacuum, and at the bottom, you're going to have an atmospheric pressure?
If the cylinder is tall enough, yes.
Okay, let's say we shrink the cylinder to normal size. Let's say
hold on, I can't leave that out there.
Why
would you assert that if it's big enough? Why would you say that that's not what the MIT professor man seems to be saying, Wiggles? He didn't say if I have a big enough container. He didn't qualify it in terms of size. He says take a container of a given size. He didn't say small or big, of any size, a given size. That's what he said. So you saying if it's a big enough cylinder, then you would have gas pressure not filling the container. That's just, what's the word? Bollocks!
And presumably, if you're closer to sea level, gravity is allegedly stronger at that point, right? So wouldn't you have an even more exaggerated effect?
No, but Wiggles thinks, and I've been in his shoes, so to speak, that you cannot falsify the notion of the gravity holding the atmospheric pressure. And I'm saying you can. You can falsify it using that experiment. And I know right now you're probably realizing that I'm correct in asserting that. I'm just walking you through.
The conversation will continue if you are watching this show on either the Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley YouTube channels. However, for the meantime, I will bid farewell to the live audience in the Flat Earth Debate channel. Massive thank you to all of you for watching. Also, a massive thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Within a contained space, like a cylinder. You may have a gradient, but you will never have a vacuum, especially an extreme vacuum as claimed by NASA, of outer space, measured in torr, where extreme negative extreme vacuum measured in negative 15 to 17 torr.
Yeah, 10 to
and
the
the
minus
highest vacuum
17.
we can achieve on Earth with the most powerful pumps there are. It's about low pressure to medium vacuum, about 11 to 10 negative torr. So I'm saying you're going to have to imagine that.
Sorry to interrupt. Just want to get that number in. So it's 10 to the minus, you said 15 to 17, which is about right. But that's what it's claimed to be. 10 to the minus 17 torr.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Sam, I think you said minus 15 torr instead of 10 to the minus 15.
Yeah,
but,
that was my correction, Wiggles. Thank you for reiterating my correction.
Yeah.
So, are you? That's the question basically. I'm finished, and I'm wondering what you think about it.
So, what exactly was the question?
Run through that mental exercise and tell me if you can achieve an atmospheric pressure in those conditions.
Yeah.
Even low atmospheric pressure.
He's rephrasing my statement. I state you can't have gas pressure without a container. He's saying, how can you have gas pressure inside a vacuum?
Even inside a container. Yeah.
Well, there's either a vacuum or there's gas pressure. It's one or the other.
Oh, so you can't have both, one next to the other, like in the heliocentric model, Wiggles?
Ding, ding.
Well,
ding, 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 ding.
You can't have both in the same place. That makes
you say it again. You can't have both.
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, 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 ding. Well done, Wiggles. Well done. So what you're saying is, when it's described as both, one next to the other... you're going to rumpus me, are you? Yeah. When it's described as both, then, something you said that can't happen, that would be wrong.
I'm saying you can't sit two people in the same seat. You can't have,
gas pressure without a container?
Inside another person.
What? Gas pressure without a container? You can't have that.
Sitting on top of another person.
Right. You can't have gas pressure without a container. You can't have both vacuum and non-vacuum at the same time, right, Wiggles? Like you just stated twice.
Nathan, are you going to just misquote me? And
no, it's been recorded. This is still recording. We got what you said.
And it's being recorded.
We got what you said, Wiggles. I tell you what I'll do, Wiggles.
Yeah,
I'll edit it out, right? Put them one after the next and play it 50 times. How about that? Saying I'm misquoting you, dipshit. You said you can't have both, right? It's either a gas filling a vacuum or it's a vacuum. You can't have both, right? Or to put it another way, you can't have gas pressure without a container. Right, Wiggles?
Or to put it another way, you can have pressure, you can have a gas at pressure, and you can have a vacuum outside of that. That's what I'm saying.
Outside of it? What do you mean outside of it? On the other side of a barrier?
Like Earth's atmosphere, you can have an atmosphere, and then you can have far away from that a vacuum.
Far away from that? So there'd be something in between the gas pressure and the vacuum, would there? What's in between the two?
The gas and the vacuum.
Yeah, what's in between them? What's you're laughing? What's in between? You said far away. What's in between them?
More gas particles.
So there is actually. So there's nothing. So it's not that there's something in between them. Then there's just gas pressure next to the vacuum.
Well, Nathan, just so you understand, right? It's not like the Earth's atmosphere.
I do understand. You don't need to explain anything to me, Wiggles. You've explained it twice.
It's not like it's at a huge pressure and then all of a sudden the pressure just goes to zero.
No, but at some point there is a vacuum and we do have gas pressure.
Yeah, exactly. That's
so at some point, you're ignoring me. So at some point,
hallelujah,
so at some point, Wiggles, if you'll let me say it again, at some point there's not a gap between them. At some point, one is next to the other. Then
one gradually becomes the other.
So at some point, there is a minimal amount of pressure next to a vacuum then.
Yeah.
So that top bit, the bit I asked about an hour ago, that top bit, the pressure at the top, what's it pressing on, Wiggles?
It's being held down by gravity.
No, not down. It goes in all directions, Wiggles. It's nowhere near the ground, it's right at the top. So, at the top, what's stopping it going into the vacuum?
Gravity.
No, Wiggles. There's no scientific evidence of gravity. If you drop a helium balloon, it doesn't go down. There is no scientific evidence for this shit. So you're just going to assert your religious belief about gravity to explain how you have...
Object
so, okay, Wiggles. Let's try it a different way. Please give me a demonstration of gravity maintaining gas pressure without a container.
You'd need like a planet for that.
Oh, what you mean is you've only got your religious belief about what the world does to demonstrate it.
Nathan, I don't think we need to think of it as without the container. Let's just stick with a container, because that scenario still works. Within the container, within even having a container, you cannot achieve differential of pressure like that.
Yeah, Wiggles won't accept that. That's the point.
No,
Wiggles will not accept that. He accepts that we can have minimal pressure next to a vacuum. That's what he thinks is happening. Even though that defies the second law of thermodynamics. I know you want to just say, well, clearly we should just accept that we have a container. Yeah, well, Wiggles won't.
No, that's not what I'm saying, Nathan. I'm saying that he's not accepting the notion that in terms of what you're saying in terms of gravity, Wiggles, you're saying there has to be gravity to falsify or nullify that. And I'm saying the experiment you can try is with having the container and having a gravity. In your case, in your model, you will still not achieve the effect you are talking about. That's my point.
Oh, I see. So you're saying even with gravity? Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I see.
Yes.
So yeah, I kind of that's my way of combating that, is saying we'll demonstrate gravity maintaining gas pressure without a container. In other words, yeah, okay, if you say gravity, show me it with gravity then. If that's the answer, get really close to the ground where the gravity is apparently the strongest, get a vacuum chamber, stick a balloon in it with gas, and then remove the balloon and show me the ball staying with gas in a ball and not dispersing into the vacuum. Because that's what you need, because that's what Earth is.
Yes.
Can I answer for him?
He's not going to answer. He's gone silent. He's not on mute.
No, because I know it's going nowhere, but this is why I wanted to go.
Yeah, but what's your answer going to be, though?
No, it's not going nowhere. The gas would fill the space. So not going nowhere, but going into the space. That's the problem, Wiggles.
Well, my response to that is, if you had a tall enough chamber with most of the gas sucked
you're
out.
just moving the goalpost.
Your response to that was already you would need a planet for that, right?
Yeah, we covered that.
That was your response.
We covered that with the MIT professor that you like to bring up so many times. So the MIT man makes it very clear, Wiggles. You take a container of a given size. He doesn't say a very big or a very small, of a given size. Any size, Wiggles. Not particularly big. Just take a container. And then fill it with gas, and then put it next to a vacuum. Then you remove the barrier, and, to quote Wiggles in 2019, the gas would fill the space. Precisely as the MIT man describes. He doesn't say, if you take a particularly small container, this will work. So why would you defy what the MIT guy says, as you kept appealing to him earlier?
Well, the MIT guy does not. He's neglecting gravity in.
Oh, is he really?
Situation.
Why? Well, he's also neglecting unicorns. Circle jerk asshole. He didn't mention unicorns. Should we take them into the equation?
No, my point is we shouldn't.
We shouldn't take gravity into the equation.
Not in that. Not in his example. No.
No, he didn't mention unicorns either. Wiggles. There's a lot of things he didn't mention. Wiggles. But what he did say was you take a gas in a given size container, in a given container, not in a small container. You're now saying if you make it big enough, well, he didn't say that. In fact, that flies in the face of what he did say. So he didn't mention unicorns, he didn't mention gravity. So let's not worry about unicorns, let's not worry about gravity, let's worry about what he did say about taking a container of a given size. Given size means any size, not small. You're saying if we make it big, you can have gas pressure without a container maintained inside a vacuum. No, Wiggles. That flies in the face of what the guy from MIT says.
So I kind of see what he's saying though, because so we're saying that the Earth either is or is not a vacuum. Or I'm sorry, container. The Earth either is or is not contained, the air pressure inside of it. But we do have a pressure differential here on Earth.
Yeah, we
What are
do.
you talking about?
I mean, like
Wiggles?
I find it's hard to get, like, it's easy to get confused. Like when we start talking about like flat earther theories and we start running all contradictions. If we talk about like just what modern science says, we'll be clear and straight.
Oh, okay, let's make it clear and straight from what modern science says. MIT. If you take a gas in a given size container and then you put it next to another container with vacuum in it, i.e. no gas pressure, and then you remove the barrier, the gas fills the space. That's the current science.
Yeah, so your starting position, Nathan, you're saying that the Earth is in a container and you're removing the barrier?
No, I'm saying that you assert there is no barrier. You assert that there is a vacuum. You assert that there is a region that defies the second law of thermodynamics. That is your claim. I make no claims about any dome, even though you'd love me to.
Well, logically, you're saying there must be a dome.
Don't tell me what I'd logically do, asshole. Find me a quote, put quotation marks around it, and quote it.
Well, I thought you were getting close to it. Like
you sound like you're stuttering. You sound like you're stuttering, Wiggles. Something you accused me of also earlier. You seem to be projecting quite a lot onto me, don't you, Wiggles?
I stutter sometimes.
Yeah, I know, but you accuse me of it. Why would you do such a thing when you're guilty of it?
Have I like made fun of you for stuttering?
Yeah.
I don't. Oh, I don't. Well, I apologize if I have.
Oh right.
Nathan, is this still being recorded?
Yep.
Okay, Wiggles, you got fucking wrecked today, mate.
Oh. I think people would. This is one opinion, right? This is one opinion.
No. Did somebody
there has to be some explanation for the pressure differential.
Chocolate, check out Discord.
Sorry, someone's asking.
Actually, I'd like to. Show me. Show me. I want to see what the flat earthers are saying.
Sorry, I'm lost. What's going on?
You say, Riley, go to Discord.
Yeah.
Tell us what's going on.
Just Wiggles getting his ass kicked so hard and he doesn't realise it. I just want to know, did he get sent in by somebody to be the sacrificial lamb? Or did you volunteer to come in all by yourself without anybody telling you to go in today?
Well, I came in. Well, the reason I come here is because, like, I want to see, like, if I'm arguing with idiots, I want to know, like, can you really, truly not convince an idiot?
Did you
like, are they hopeless?
Straightforward question. Did you get sent in by somebody today to be a sacrificial lamb, or did you choose to do this all by your own free will?
Well, I chose to came here.
Okay.
Like, I'm curious, like, because flat earthers are idiots. Like, I'm just going to be blunt and say it. Flat earthers are all idiots.
I think globeheads are all stuttering Mongols who don't understand natural laws.
Is that what you were asking, Wiggles? Is what the explanation for the pressure differential in the atmosphere is?
The explanation is gravity. Like,
Are you okay with accepting that for you personally, knowing that gravity can't be scientifically proven?
Like, gravity, if you say gravity can't be proven, like, you're an idiot. I'm just gonna, like, stop being nice and patient now. Like, if you say gravity doesn't exist, you're a complete moron.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying it necessarily doesn't exist. I'm just asking if it can be scientifically proven. So could you please point us to the scientific experiment where it is scientifically proven?
Like, there's two different understandings of gravity. There's Newton's understanding, which is just observation.
That's another good question.
Which is just like a description. And then there's Einstein's interpretation, which is like a massive object bends space-time. You just follow the curve. But you need like differential geometry to understand that stuff.
So which one do you believe?
Well, it's not that I believe one or the other. It's that.
So which one are you saying is true?
Well, Newton's theory is like a general is like a specific case of Einstein's theory. Like they agree on some level.
So you're saying that there are different explanations for things that we observe in the real world but haven't been proven.
No, it's like this. Look, I'm gonna have to give a complicated example. My apologies.
Okay.
Like for example, Ohm's law. It works pretty good, right? Like Ohm's law, it allows you to calculate the current that passes through a resistor when you apply a given voltage. Now,
familiar with electronics?
Yeah, so that's good. So it's just the same like as if you put water pressure across, like water at a higher pressure will just flow through a pipe. Like that's the analogy we think about. Like, but actually, Ohm's law is not really true because there's a more deeper theory that explains electric, it explains like electric force as like waves, like electric signals travel as waves. They don't travel instantaneously. So I mean, like Ohm's law is a good approximation. But
okay,
if you really,
Sorry, I was just gonna comment that this law, the Ohm's law, there's a lot of speculation that's not actually true because there are other explanations for it. So couldn't we?
There's no speculation that it's not true. It works. Like it absolutely.
Well, it can be measured
works.
and it's repeatable.
Yeah.
Right. It can be estimated and described and measured, but we're accepting that this is a theory and there might be a deeper explanation for it.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. Yes, we understand like electrons.
That's exactly my point for gravity.
Yeah, it's like whatever theory that is at the level of detail that you need, that's the one that you use.
I'd like scientific theory for it, please. Scientific theory being backed by systematic experimentation that was driven by hypothesis. That would be a scientific theory. Beyond that, you have mystic meg theories, which is what you're presenting.
Yeah, and so that's really my main issue is you are calling people who disagree with these things idiots. But
that's correct.
Right.
But that makes you a religious zealot.
You're believing it. You're believing
you have a
these
belief,
things
and anybody who doesn't believe as you do is an idiot. So if we don't believe as you do, Wiggles, we're idiots. That makes you a religious zealot. So, like Christians, if you don't believe in Christ, you're an idiot. That's what you're saying. If you don't believe in G, you're an idiot. That makes you a fundy. Bloody fundy. Fundy globeheads. Telling us that if we don't believe like they believe, then we're idiots. No, you're a zealot.
Well, if you reject the idea that there's gravity, if you reject the idea that the Earth is round, that makes you a bit of an idiot or like a troubled person.
Yeah, that statement backs precisely what I just said. That backs entirely what I just said. So your belief trumps all, and anybody who does not believe as you believe is an idiot. That statement is the definition of what a religious zealot would do.
I'm not saying believe what I believe. I'm like, you can go out and look for yourself. If you like, if you conclude that the Earth is flat after looking into it, then I can't help you.
Sorry, conclude that the Earth is flat. The Earth is obviously and observably flat. If you speak to people like Neil deGrasse Tyson, he'll explain that from any altitude, the Earth presents itself as flat. It is obviously flat. What we have beyond that is a religious belief based on a presupposition of R and zero scientific validity for all the band-aids that make things that should not work suddenly work mathematically. Now, these are your beliefs, and you assert that if we don't believe them also, in spite of the fact there is no scientific validity to them whatsoever, we are therefore idiots. Like a fundamentalist would do. If you don't believe as I believe, regardless of the fact I can't back it, then you are an idiot. Right, Wiggles?
Well, one of the reasons that you're an idiot, Nathan, is because you don't see that you're implying Earth must have a dome around it. That's one of the reasons you're an idiot.
Yeah, you laugh about it. I am challenging your assertion that we have photos from space. You do this every single time we have the conversation. You've got no cognitive processing in the real time, Wiggles. All you can do is rinse and repeat. So all you've got is your religious faith about this stuff. And you assert that you've got pictures from a region that can't exist, like Narnia. We've gone through this 4 or 5 times in the last hour. So, all you've got is a belief in a space, Wiggles, where you assert you've got photos. Now, are you going to put a quote around what I use from this region, or just strawman me again?
Yeah, I've got a quote where you say that you're getting there towards accepting that there's a dome.
Sorry, what claim have I made about it? I'm not claiming pictures from this region, am I? Yeah, that's your claim that I'm challenging. This is a straw man. It's a fallacy, Wiggles. It's not addressing the point in hand. It's addressing something that seems like it's attached so that you can set that on fire. So you want to set on fire an assertion of a dome, don't you, Wiggles? Rather than address that your assertion, the actual claim being made here, is that you have pictures from space. And I'm attacking the space bit. The bit that can't exist because it's a second law of thermodynamics violation. It seems that even though Anthony's pointed out to you that you've absolutely had your ass handed to you for the last hour, you still want to do it. You're a what's the word? A masochist.
I'm a little bit masochistic, yeah. Speaking of Riley, I'm curious for a link to that Discord. See what people are saying.
Pay attention to what's being said now. You're a religious zealot. You've asserted that we're all dumb unless we believe what you believe.
Well, yeah, if I'm completely honest, if you think the Earth is flat, you're an idiot.
I've just said this as well. I addressed this 2 minutes ago. The Earth is obviously and observably flat, from all discernible angles, from any altitude, according to the current scientific rhetoric, according to your priest, Neil deGrasse Tyson. It appears flat. Now, I say it differently. I say it's obviously flat. Now, you're saying, if you want to believe that, no. It is flat. It presents as flat. What we experience is flat. And beyond that, you have a presupposition of an R value and a reification of a model called the heliocentric model. That's all you have. What I've got is the observably bloody obvious. It's flat.
Well, I can show
what, pictures from space?
No, a picture of how many this Rubik's Cube I have here. How many sides does the Rubik's Cube have?
Pairs.
How many sides does this cube have?
Don't get me to concede. Just make your example.
No, how many does it have?
Just make your example. What do you want to say about it?
Let's see if you can follow along. How many sides does this cube have?
An infinite number of sides.
No.
Make your point, Wiggles.
I'm just curious. I need you to come up with an answer before I continue.
All right. I'll take you off screen then.
Like a face.
There you go. Clearly, you can't continue then.
So how many faces does the cube have? Do you know what a face is?
Maybe you'd like to answer.
Okay, like a face is like a planar side, it's a flat surface. And
okay.
6. What's your point?
6. Okay, 6. But we can only see 3 right now.
And?
So we gotta, even though we can only see 3, how do we know there's 6?
We don't. For all I know, it's a hollowed out Rubik's Cube.
We see all 6, by the way.
Well, we can't see all 6 right now at any given time. No matter how you look at it, you can't see all 6 at once.
I've just answered your question. I don't know. I would need to get hold of it if you're only showing us the green, white and yellow side and establish that it's not just a hollowed out 3 pieces of card glued together so that it appears like a cube. I don't know that until you spin it round. What's your point?
Well, the point is you got to look at it a bit carefully. You can't just look at the first picture. You say, "Oh, there's 3 sides," and just say, "Oh, there's 3 sides." So, no, you got to get it and look at it.
Right. So
that's what we're saying.
Okay. So to assert that the Earth is a sphere, we'd have to go and have a look at it then. Wouldn't you agree? By that
yeah, you
standard,
gotta take a careful look at it.
a careful look at it. Where would we look at it from?
Well, I mean, that's up to you, right?
No. We just looked at an entire cube as a comparison to Earth. Now I want to look at all of Earth. How and where do I do this?
Well, I mean, like, that's, if you're curious about it, that's up to you to do, right? Like, it doesn't matter
how
to
would
me.
I go about doing it? You don't tell me about whether or not I want to do it. My motivation's not the question. You seem to misconstrue my questions continually. How would I view Earth the same as the cube that you've just shown us?
Well, my point is, like, I'm making an analogy, right? Like, if we want to see something, if we want to extract some information about the cube, we've got to reason a bit more than just looking at it and saying what we see. We got to, like, spin it around a bit and say, oh, there's 6 sides to it. And count them, there's like 6 colors, right?
Yeah, that's fascinating. And the comparison is comparing what? To maintaining a car, or we're on a flat Earth debate, aren't we? Maybe it's about Earth that you're making this comparison. Is it about Earth that you're making this comparison? So we'd need to have a look at it and get around all sides of it, right?
Yeah. So the comparison is right. Like,
I'll say it again. My question, following on from your example, using the comparison that you are giving us, how would I do this with Earth, Wiggles?
Well, the idea is right. Like, you're like Earth at first glance, it looks flat.
Does it?
Yeah, because it's really big.
Oh, so it looks flat. So the Earth, as far as we can see, looks flat. Thank you, Wiggles. Yes, I entirely agree.
2019.
I entirely agree. Earth is obviously and observably flat. Now, when we look at a small portion like you've just detailed, we'd be on top of one of those tiny little cubes on your Rubik's Cube, wouldn't we? We wouldn't be looking at it like you were looking at it, now would we? So it's not really fair to say, now let's compare how we would be if we were amoeba on this cube. Because you were holding it at quite some distance from the camera, weren't you, Wiggles? So we could see all of it. Now I'll ask for the 4th time. How and where could we get that comparison with Earth?
Well, you got to get far away from Earth. You got to jump really high.
Oh, right.
Have
you done this?
We can't jump that high. We need something to get us up there.
Oh, so we can't make this comparison then?
Well, no, don't rule that out yet. I mean, you could build a rocket.
Well, I'm asking you how
airplane.
we would make the comparison, and you're saying we can't, but I shouldn't rule it out. I'm very confused, Wiggles. If we can't do it, we can't do it. If you're saying that there's a possibility in the future, I couldn't give a shit.
Well, when I say I can't, there's a caveat, because we could build a rocket, we could build an airplane, we could climb a tall mountain.
Oh, and see all of the cube, Earth, like your comparison would suggest. We can do that from the top
enough of it to
from
see
the top of a mountain.
Curve,
we can do that. We can do that from the top of a mountain, can we? We can see the entirety of the cube. Earth. How many times have I got to say this?
Earth at once.
You have said we can climb to the top of a mountain to do this. So, we can climb to the top of a mountain and see the entirety of the cube. Earth, the comparison that you're making. Like you showed us. We can do that from the top of a mountain, can we?
No, you got to get higher than the top of the mountain.
Right, so let's just tick them off one by one. So, I can climb to the top of a mountain, but apparently we can't achieve that. So that was a lie. Let's move on. So what about from a plane? You said that as well. Plane. You can get on a plane. I've done that. And you can see the entirety of the cube. Earth. From the plane. Correct? Like you had just asserted.
Well, plane is not high enough yet.
Oh, so that was a lie as well. You also said... What was the third one? Oh, yeah. A rocket. So I can get on a rocket, and presumably you've done this, got on a rocket, and travelled into a medium that defies the second law of thermodynamics to have a look. You've done this. And I can do this. Right, Wiggles?
Other people have.
Excuse me. I can get on a plane. I can climb a mountain. So you're saying that I can't do this, but others can tell me. Priests can tell me.
Well, there's no one stopping you from building your own rocket and going up like 100 kilometers.
To where? Where am I going in the rocket?
Just up.
Up to where?
Up.
Just up.
Just up. Wherever up takes you, that's where you're going.
Right. And what happens if I go up and up and up and up and up and it always looks the same?
Well, I mean, like, you can try it for yourself, and you.
All right.
See
So
if
this is something I could potentially do in the future. This is why you said don't rule it out. So I can't get the comparison of the Rubik's Cube then. I might be able to in future, but I can't do that, Wiggles. So this is a pretty crap comparison, really, as you've given it and said I can do it, and I can't. I can't go and have a look at the Earth described as this. But we can listen to the priests. Right, Wiggles?
Well, who you're calling priests are just people with the technology to do what you can't do.
Oh, right. Kind of like the rabbi has got a direct link to God, which you just don't have. Right, Wiggles?
Well, I don't believe the rabbi when
I don't believe in space. It's a second law of thermodynamics violation. But the priests can get there, you say? Like the priests can talk to God?
Well, if a priest said that, I would want, like, some evidence. I would want, like, voice recording or something.
I'd like some evidence, too. The region they claim they're travelling to, Wiggles. Wiggles. The region they claim they're travelling to, Wiggles, my friend. While you rumpus me, Wiggles. The region the priests claim to be going to defies the second law of thermodynamics. So, I would want some proof that you can actually defy the second law of thermodynamics. Because that region I'm not travelling to, but they are, seems to be fake. So I'm not just going to trust that they are going to that region and coming back with pictures. I'm not going to trust them, Wiggles, because it seems to have a glaring contradiction. It defies the second law.
It's like you've made up your mind it's fake. I can't change your mind.
No. The second law of thermodynamics dictates that it is fake, because if it was real, the gas would fill the space. Wiggles, 2019.
You've made up your mind it's fake? I can't help you.
It is fake because it defies a natural law that holds true always. And I can't verify it. The only thing I can go by is the priests. Now, the priests also tell me we have lots of other non-scientifically valid things that band-aid up this crap. So you can trust the priests when they tell you they can talk to God and go to the heavens, which is what you think they're doing. But I'm not travelling to the heavens and talking to God. But you can trust them if you want to, Wiggles, the priests. You can trust that they're doing what they say they're doing. The rabbis tell you they're talking to God, and you can believe them if you want. Your priests tell you they're travelling to heaven, and you can believe them about what heaven is if you want.
They have photo evidence.
Yeah! The priests have got the Bible. Penned by God, Wiggles.
Well, like, where is...
Yeah, sorry, do you want to address that? Yeah, they've got photos, and the priests have got a book that's penned by God. It's not an affirming the consequent or anything. That's proof right there. Same standard as yours.
Like, I mean...
So the priests aren't talking to God. Yeah, they're not. And your priests aren't going to heaven. And they don't get to define what heaven is. But they say they are, and you trust them. And anybody who doesn't believe them like you believe them is an idiot, aren't they, Wiggles? Because they don't believe as you believe. What the priests tell them.
Well, Nathan, do you, I don't know, do you see my screen right now?
I don't care about your pictures from space. The medium itself is fake. Just because your priests tell you that they've got these pictures doesn't mean it's real. Just because the priests say that God wrote the words doesn't mean he did.
No, but like this is photo evidence.
Yeah, it's written evidence. It's in a book. It's written evidence in a book that they got, and it was penned by God.
There's difference between these photos and like just someone's word, Nathan. Like,
really? It is someone's word. The word that they have travelled to a region that defies the second law of thermodynamics, because you've not confirmed that. So it is just their word, you bonehead, that you believe, and assert that everyone who doesn't believe as you do is an idiot. Well, that makes you a zealot.
Well, I mean, like, Nathan, this is not just a journal entry that I'm looking at. This is
not just
photos,
a journal entry. This is the Bible.
Thousands.
This is not just a journal entry. It was written by God. It's not just some book, Wiggles. They are talking to God. You're an idiot if you don't believe this. Not just some book. It's written by God, Wiggles. Do you not get it? Bloody idiot.
I see the comparison you're making.
You're just an idiot if you don't believe this.
It doesn't faze me. Like,
yeah, well, you're just an idiot. You don't believe this stuff. That makes you an idiot. You should believe it.
He has his belief to protect him. Keep on praying, Wiggles. Yeah. Keep on praying.
It's like, Nathan, you're using my
science
like, you're imitating me,
against
Nathan.
These nasty questions.
Answer me this, Wiggles. What does space smell like?
I think they said it smells like
straight away.
Almonds.
The priest told him what it smelled like, right, Wiggles?
Well,
so they said,
it, obviously.
They said, who's they? Your priests. Your priests told you, did
Chris
they?
Hadfield.
They? Oh, so Chris Hatfield told you. They told you, and you expect us to believe you. How pathetic. They told him.
I'm quote like this is what he said. Take
yeah,
it or
man,
leave it.
it's what the priest told you. Yeah, I get it.
That's what
We're
said.
humiliating you right now based on what your priests tell you.
Like, I don't know. I don't accept the claim unless I go up there and smell it myself.
Don't worry, Wiggles.
Excellent. So you don't expect. So you don't accept that
link.
it's a vacuum unless you experience it yourself, then. So you don't accept it's a vacuum unless you've experienced it yourself, like with the smell, correct?
But I can reason about this.
Oh, so anybody who doesn't accept your reasoning is an idiot, right, Wiggles?
Well, anyone who doesn't accept my reasoning can use their reasoning.
Oh, they can go to the priests themselves.
No, they can reason
Hallelujah. 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 Quick, find me a heliocentric priest. My faith is tarnished. Can they tell me too? Can they tell me, Wiggles? Can they make it all better? Can they make space real with their words?
This is so good, guys. Amazing.
You know, I'm glad Nathan's having a good time. Usually you're quite pissed off, Nathan, but you seem to be in a good mood now.
I've handed to you so many times. It's hilarious, man. It's just, I don't know how you cannot see that you are zealot. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's listening to you, Wiggles, is almost like watching a circus show and a lion that just keeps on getting tricked. The same thing over and over again. Doesn't get it. Just does the same trick over and over again.
Yeah, like if you guys were to say like, oh, we all know the Earth is round, we're just trolling you. I would.
Yeah, I know that's not gonna happen. That's not. It's never gonna happen, Wiggles. I know, but it's a dream. It's all in your mind.
If you guys all said that you knew the Earth was round,
it's not real. Really. We're not going to tell you, oh, sorry, this whole time, all these years, this was all just a joke. No. It's all a dream. It's all in your mind. It's not real.
It's like I've had that happen to me before. Like I talked to someone on the internet and they say like they think the Earth is flat, and then I think they're serious, and then they say, oh no, I was just trolling. And I'm like, oh geez, I'm stupid enough to think that someone would think the Earth is flat.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. It's really funny to make a joke with that, isn't it? They thought it was funny. They just didn't get it because they didn't actually look into it. They just heard, oh, flat Earth. Oh, yeah, it's funny. You can make jokes with that. You can fool people with that or something.
Yeah, like
we don't know because we didn't really look into it. We're just laughing from the sidelines, like most of us.
Yeah, like nowadays you can go out and say the Earth is flat and people think you're serious.
This is an appeal to consensus fallacy.
There's more people that actually look into it now.
Listen, the bud. This is called an appeal to consensus fallacy. What people say, like I give two shits what the general consensus thinks.
We have a case of cognitive dissonance here. I think Hoover said the individual is handicapped when faced with conspiracy so big he can't believe it exists. That's your case right there. You just cannot believe it exists. I mean, that's the crux of it.
Yeah, I mean the flat Earth conspiracy, yes, that one's a bit.
Yeah, it's a world-enveloping conspiracy. That's right.
Yeah, it's like you got to throw out gravity, you got to throw out modern science, you got to throw out everything. It's like.
Yeah, Well, in other words, you actually have to prove it.
Yeah, everything
Well,
that hasn't been proved.
Still
you can throw it
recording,
out.
just so you
You
know.
have to
But
throw
bear
out
with me a
the-
second,
throw
guys.
out the
Hold on.
book.
Sorry.
That's right.
We're still recording.
If we're still recording, I've got things to tell you, Nathan. I can't tell you online.
Well, I'm still recording. Okay.
So,
I'll speak to you in a
call
bit.
you back in an hour or so.
Okay, no worries.
See you in a bit.
Whoops. Sorry.
Should we talk about rotation?
It's not like anyone's mind's going to be changed, you know.
I have a question
It's not
for
like
you.
your mind's going to be changed.
Okay, sure.
What to you is the best evidence of rotation? And then I have a follow-up question.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I can't actually do the experiment, but I saw someone else who did because I admit I'm just lazy. Like, there's this guy Wolfie. I don't know.
I've heard.
Right.
Of him.
He took he weighed like something at a certain latitude, and then he weighed it at a different latitude, and the weights were different. Because like you weigh less at the equator than you do at the poles if the Earth is rotating. So then the test is
a ball, not just rotate.
Sorry, that's affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy. If the rotating Earth is true, then we will weigh different at the equator as we will at a different latitude. We do weigh different at a different latitude, therefore the Earth is rotating. That is a formal logical fallacy known as affirming the consequent. Again, if P, then Q, Q, therefore P. Logical fallacy.
Well, this is the thing in science, Nathan. You can't get at, like,
you
dirty
boy, dirty boy. So this is not science. This is an affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy. If P, then Q, Q, therefore P. If the Earth is a rotating sphere, that's if P, then you will weigh more on the equator, Q. We weigh more on the equator, Q. Therefore, the Earth is a rotating sphere, P. If P, then Q. Q, therefore P. Definitely not science, and absolutely an affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy. That's the second time I've said it. Use it again, Wiggles, and you get kicked out. Confirm. Confirm you understand that you have just used an affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy. Please confirm that you understand what I have just said.
Listen, I think that actually really makes it. You've actually done a good job of explaining, Nathan, how like the idea is you're trying to disprove like a hypothesis in science. Like what you're trying to do is you're trying to disprove
you
the claim.
Stupid boy. No, you're not. You're trying to confirm your independent variable, presumed cause, as the cause of the effect. You're not trying to disprove it. Getting a null result means you've made an inaccurate prediction. So your null result guess is not what you are trying to confirm in a hypothesis. You idiot. Don't talk science here, you stupid idiot.
Yeah, but that's
not yes, so. No. You are not trying to validate the null. A null result means you incorrectly identified the presumed cause as the cause. That's a null result. You are not trying to validate something not happening. You are trying to validate the cause. I'd like you to confirm that you have understood. I doubt it, but confirm that what you have said about invalidating hypothesis is in fact wrong. You are trying to validate hypothesis. Validate the cause.
Yeah, so like what, as you pointed out, Nathan, like if you're trying to prove, like if you have the statement P implies Q, and then if that's a true statement, and then
so you're using and affirming the consequent to describe and affirming the consequent. If P, then Q, if that's a true statement. So you're now going to formulate the description of a logical fallacy into a logical fallacy. Are you having me on? If the first bit of affirming the consequent's true, that's your statement that you've just made. How stupid do you think I am?
Well, I think what he's trying to say is that if actual logical reasoning disproves the globe, then actual logical reasoning can't be correct. Right, Wiggles?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
No?
I was just repeating what Nathan said. Nathan was quite right that when he said, if you take P implies Q, then you take Q, and then if you deduce P, then you've made a fallacy, and that's true.
Right. So,
but
what link are you missing then?
Can you see
the link between his example about travelling and weighing differences on a concept that's already predetermined by an affirming the consequent and by a begging the question fallacy? So your example of travelling to different latitudes automatically assumes that we're on a rotating sphere, doesn't it, Wiggles?
Like what you're trying to do is you're trying to disprove the statement P implies Q.
No.
You're trying
if
to
I eat 10 hamburgers, I am full. Shut up! If I eat 10 hamburgers,
if you make Q false, then that statement
if I
becomes
eat
not true.
10 hamburgers, P, then I am full, Q. I am not trying to disprove that statement because that is fact. If I eat 10 hamburgers, fact, I am full. The consequent being affirmed is using that statement to confirm the reverse. So if I am full, I must have eaten 10 hamburgers. In your example, if I travel from a presupposed sphere that has an outside edge determined by the path of the sun when assuming it's traversing the outside edge of a sphere, then I will weigh different at the equator to at a northerly latitude. I do weigh different at a northerly latitude, therefore the Earth is a presupposed sphere because the sun travels around the outside edge of that predetermined sphere. That's what you're saying.
Well, to use like your hamburger analogy, so like you're saying if I eat 10 hamburgers then I'm full, well that's your hypothesis.
No, that's a statement of fact. It's not a bloody hypothesis, you total moron. Stop using scientific words. That's not a hypothesis. You dickhead. You really piss me off, Wiggles, when you start talking about science like you understand it. That's not a hypothesis, dickhead. Say no, Nathan. No, that's not a hypothesis. Yeah, it's a statement of fact. It's a statement of fact. If I eat 10 hamburgers, I'm full. That's a statement of fact, not a hypothesis. I don't have to validate with systematic experimentation whether or not 10 hamburgers is going to make me full. It will. But what it doesn't prove is that being full means I've eaten 10 hamburgers. Like being a different weight at a different latitude, based on a presupposition that that latitude is a marker on a sphere, that it proves a rotating sphere. That's a fallacy, you dick.
Well, we can take that as a hypothesis. If you eat 10 hamburgers, then you'll be full.
No!
We take that as a hypothesis.
We won't, because it isn't. You stupid dick. I've just explained this to you, and you've just decided to rephrase it. We will take it as a hypothesis. It's not going to be taken as a hypothesis. It isn't one. Even though you say, well, we'll just take it as one then. So the way you get around difficult situations is just say, I'm going to do it anyway. Like with space, I'm going to present the photos anyway. Even though you've proven it's a fake medium and can't exist, I want to present them anyway. Even though it's not a hypothesis and you've ripped that stupid shit to pieces, I want to assert it's a hypothesis anyway. That's not a good argument, Wiggles.
We've got to make sure that we do the parallels right. I can't believe how much patience I have. Most people would have been like long gone by now.
Yeah.
How much patience
you
you've got?
Don't know where we're getting it from anyway.
How much patience we've got? We're dealing with a religious zealot who doesn't accept or concede a single smegging point ever. You just circle jerk All you can do is rinse and repeat. You've made the same points over and over and over and over and over on this show. And you've ignored every rebuttal to them. Yet you're claiming you've got patience. What, that we don't accept the repeated shit you come out with over and over again? And do not acknowledge anything that we have rebutted it with?
Well, as I said,
you're seriously like a circus lion, just performing the same tricks over and over again, because it's the only thing you ever got to learn.
Well,
And you don't know anything else. It's literally what we're looking at. It is astounding that you can.
I don't know if you saw that Slide Sparkane video.
Astounding! It is.
Did you see the
time for a red herring? Is it time for a red herring fallacy?
Marvel.
Sounds like it's time for a red herring fallacy.
Yeah, so like Sly Sparkane actually pointed out something like about your like angle of.
Oh, it is a red herring fallacy. Pictures from space. That entire argument that we've just had.
No.
We're moving on, are we, Wiggles? Moving on. So what? In the face of me saying, yeah, we don't tolerate. We have a lot of patience for dickheads that keep repeating the same shit and ignoring every point. Your response to that is to move on to Sly Sparkane, who no, I don't watch and don't give two shits about. No, I don't care what he has done about angles.
No,
I do care.
I
do care that for the last hour and a half, you have gone on and on about pictures from space and ignored that you can't have outer space. You've ignored it.
Well, you can have. Well, we're just going to have to agree to disagree, Nathan.
What? You mean you won't concede because you're a religious zealot? That's what you mean by agree to disagree. I'm not going to acknowledge a single point you've made because I've got this belief and I'll hold it regardless of any contradiction to it. That's what you're saying, right?
Well, Nathan, you misunderstand the second law of thermodynamics.
Oh, right. We're going to go there again.
Yeah.
You do realize that you've been here.
Been here already, haven't we, Wiggles? Yeah.
You
so
said,
I'm right.
Every single one. You've repeated the literal form of reasoning, the direction, that actual point within the reasoning, at least 10 or 20 times now. In the last period, you're literally repeating yourself. Yeah. I wonder if you even notice it.
Maybe if I give him 10 more of his own quotes back
over and over again, like a lunatic.
Yeah, maybe if I quote his own quote back to him 10 times over, the gas would fill the space. So we have been here, Wiggles. Does that sound familiar? Me repeating verbatim your quote, the gas would fill the space?
Yep, we've been here before.
So that's the second law of thermodynamics, and it seems you understand it, as I'm quoting you. So that's wrong, is it, the second law of thermodynamics? That law that holds true always?
Well, Nathan, you don't understand the second law.
Yeah, I heard you say that the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth time. I've just rebutted it, and what you've done like a parrot is repeated the same statement. Like I say, you don't seem to be capable of actually addressing our rebuttal. You only seem capable of repeating it. Your original assertion, that is, like a parrot. Maybe you'd like to tell me again that I don't understand the second law of thermodynamics. Maybe that'll be your response. Again, parrot.
Well, Nathan, you're saying all pressure... all gas under pressure.
I'm saying it. Didn't we go over this already? That's why I'm talking over you. I'm saying it, am I? Or is this, again, the second law of thermodynamics? Which is it? Me saying it, or is it a natural law? Didn't we go here again, parrot?
It's you saying it.
I'm saying it, or is it the second law of thermodynamics, a natural law? Which is it? Is it my opinion, or is it the second law of thermodynamics? The gas would fill the space. That's not my opinion. That's the second law of thermodynamics. You keep misrepresenting it by making it seem like it's somehow my opinion or what I say. We've been here at least 3 times, Wiggles. So, this seems like just a acrobat display. How did Arwin describe it? Like a lion that just keeps doing the same trick over and over again. Do you have anything other than parroting the same crap over and over again? Or is that all you can do?
Well, I can try to explain to you that the professor was neglecting gravity in the explanation he was giving.
We've been here too. Yeah, he's neglecting unicorns too, isn't he? Damn, that professor. He didn't mention the unicorns. He didn't mention fried eggs or fried chicken. So, should we also insert those into his explanation? Fried chicken and unicorns? Because he didn't mention them. Or should we just not worry about fried chicken and unicorns? We've been here before, Wiggles. These long pauses are because we've already gone over this with you.
Can I address something that was mentioned before, guys?
Sure, why not?
So we need to concern ourselves with fried chicken and unicorns because he didn't mention them.
Nathan, can you share my screen?
Yeah, sure.
So I just want to point out, I've heard Wiggles mentioning an experiment, conducting experiment with weights. Just want to point out that there are so-called anomalies. If you go on Wikipedia and type in gravitation anomalies. So just to show you how your hypothesis could be false on the face of it, just clinging to the scientific sort of knowledge, you will know that at certain points on the face of Earth, there are known gravitational anomalies as far as science is concerned, which has nothing, I repeat, absolutely zero to do with rotation. Do you concede that?
Yeah, yeah.
Fascinating.
Okay, well, my case is done. Thank you.
There's anomalies?
Yeah, Earth is not
that
a perfect
proves
sphere.
it because the anomalies and it was projected onto this ball thing. So those anomalies then somehow prove that there is a ball.
No,
and
that's
there's
not what I'm
gravity
saying.
and it's
No,
fluctuating.
that's not what I'm saying.
I
That's
don't
not what I'm
see,
saying.
look,
I don't think you
whatever's
understand what I'm
whatever's
saying.
causing
hold on, Arwin.
whatever's causing what it's causing.
Arwin, hold on.
Arwin, just let
what?
Sam make his point again.
Okay.
So when Wiggles mentioning weight experiments performed by, I don't know who he mentioned, a guy named Wolfie, I don't know, saying that it proves that a rotation of the Earth by measuring weights at different points on the Earth. And what I'm pointing out is your hypothesis that is due to rotation is false on the face of it because these gravitational anomalies are present and have nothing to do with rotation. If you look at the picture I'm presenting, that's from Wikipedia. Do you see that?
Yeah, so that's
Right,
and
that's a
that's
good
an
point.
example of where you got to be careful in science, right? You got to
No,
filter
no,
out
no,
the
hold on.
noise.
No. I'm just telling you that your hypothesis in regards to weights being different on different points on the face of Earth due to rotation is false.
No, what I was saying is because
I
of the
didn't know
rotation of
everything
Earth.
weighed so much in.
Like what? Okay, here let's try to clear this up. Like flat earthers
Yes
are
or no?
kind of right when they
No,
say
hold
like
on. Hold on. No, can you concede to my
Somebody
point?
quote that.
Yeah, well, no. Let me say my whole quote. Flat earthers are kind of right when they say a spinning ball would have the water fly off it. They're kind of right.
Again, you're talking about the model. I'm saying the hypothesis. You're saying the only explanation of that being the case is because of rotation is false, based on the same science from the same professors that you're referring to, and satellites that you're referring to. These are measured gravitational anomalies that have nothing to do with rotation of the Earth. So I'm saying your explanation of weights being different on the different points on the face of the Earth due to rotation is false. Yes or no?
Yes, you've proven him wrong with his own rhetoric. You don't need to ask him. Just state it as
Okay.
fact. You're saying this is a proof of rotation. According to your own rhetoric,
so,
there's
yeah,
different gravitational
so Sam
anomalies.
has brought up a legitimate point here, and so what we'd have to do is we'd have to ask, well, what is the actual numbers involved, right? Like how much would the weight of gravity, or how much would the force of gravity change at different points in the Earth?
I'm falsifying your assertion. So let's not go further than that.
According
there's
to
two reasons
the
that
map
can
you're
have
presenting,
changed.
up to 100
just-
milligauss. Whatever that means.
Just let Sam have his go on Wiggles, because he's hammering him at the moment.
All right, I'll shut up.
Well, yeah, I mean, I made my point, saying that you're presenting the fact that you can measure weights being different at different points on the face of Earth solely due to rotation on the face of it false. I'm calling you on that.
Yeah, if we look at like Wolfie's experiment, like what you would expect from like the rotation of Earth changing your weight, what you would expect is that you would weigh less at the equator and you would weigh more at the poles. And so Wolfie, like he weighed himself at, or he weighed a mass very accurately at like, I don't know, 25 degrees latitude, and then got like say 200 grams, and then he weighed himself at like 70 degrees latitude and got 201 grams or something like that. So that is what we would expect if the Earth were rotating.
He's missed your point entirely, Sam. Sorry, Arwin, bear with me. He's completely ignored your point and restated his same position like a parrot, which is entirely expected. So I'll try and reiterate it for you on your behalf, Sam. Hopefully I'm correct in my assertion. What he's saying is that you're affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy falls to pieces based on your own rhetoric of the dissipation of gravitational fields. So this is not an example of Earth spinning, and it is, by Sam, not me, I wouldn't use this, but good for you, Sam. By your own rhetoric, it disproves your assertion, Wiggles. Now, I'd prefer you didn't ignore this and just assert the formal logical fallacy that Wolfie's made, again, and actually address it.
Yeah, so just gravity is different at different points of Earth, yes. But like you'd have to look into the numbers. Like this is, like I'm just giving you like an
right.
an
And so you
experiment
have to believe. You have to believe, right? Not know, but believe that the differential that you measure is due to rotation.
Yeah, but like you see, the differential here is all over the place. It's not like a smooth
right.
That's
so
Sam's point. Sam's point.
Of the so-called globe to measure all the anomalies and non-anomalies. Did he factor it all in? The answer is of course not.
Well, probably, but I don't know. You'd have to look into that.
Not probably. It's not.
Yeah, we know because we've heard the formalized fallacy from you, Wiggles. So we know it's just an affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy. You formulated it for us. Then we picked it apart and laughed at you, while you called it a hypothesis.
I see, like if you like the, I don't know. I'm pointing with my mouse at the red part here. This is like going from there's red here and there's blue here. So like you should actually weigh less than you do. You should weigh more here. No, wait, you should weigh less here on the red. You should weigh more at the blue due to rotation. But like this is saying the opposite. I'm not doing a very good job of explaining.
No, you're not. Like, he's ripped apart your assertion based on the standard rhetoric and bullshit that they assert about Earth as a sphere. So there's a contradiction within your own rhetoric, is the point that Sam's making. And you haven't got it yet, clearly.
You can see that the gravitational so-called anomalies are not in line with Earth rotating. In other words, the blue spot, the weak gravity, right, is not around the circumference at the equator. You can see that, don't you?
Yeah, so this is a good, so it's convenient that there's red at the equator and blue down a bit further south, because then you could weigh yourself at wherever this is on.
I don't know what picture you're looking at. Are we all looking at the same picture?
Yeah, we're all looking at the same picture.
In India, it's very low, and then in Indonesia, right next to it, it's super high. So it's not a real consistency.
So regardless, there's something other than the assertion that Earth turn causes these weight differences, Wiggles. That's the point. So the affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy falls apart based on your own rhetoric. Second time I've said it.
Yes, Nathan. It's an affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy. I just believed Wolfie because I believed him.
No, he did the experiment. And you can see.
No, he didn't do an experiment. You stupid moron.
Readouts,
no, he did not do an experiment. He affirmed the consequent. Are you deaf, Wiggles? I'm asking sincerely. Are you deaf? Do you have hearing problems?
No, I can hear fine.
Right. Repeat after me. It's not a hypothesis. It's an affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy. Not a hypothesis. Yeah, you must be deaf. I said the words repeat after me. So repeat them, so that you don't go through the same thing 5 times like a parrot. Not a hypothesis, and affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy. Please repeat it so I understand that you've understood that what Wolfie did definitely wasn't experiment. I've spoken to Wolfie. I know Wolfie's stupid and also doesn't understand this. He is thick. I've had the conversation with him. He thinks it's an experiment too, because he's a retard. Now, you want to believe the word of retards, even though me, having pointed out and described in detail how this is a formal logical fallacy known as affirming the consequent and not a hypothesis, have continued to assert it, Wiggles. So I'd like you to repeat it so I understood that you understood what I have said.
It's not a fallacy. There's nothing fallacious here.
Oh, really?
Well, anyway.
So if P then Q, Q therefore P, you just didn't hear any of that explanation then, Wiggles. You are deaf. You conceded earlier that that was a fallacious reasoning. Like eating 10 hamburgers and being full, and then asserting that because you're full, you've eaten 10 hamburgers. It's the same when you assert that you travelling to a certain point proves the Earth is a sphere, when you assume that it is caused by you being on a sphere. It's the same. A logical fallacy known as affirming the consequent, not a hypothesis. A hypothesis is a scientific prediction. It predicts how the independent variable, your presumed cause, will affect the dependent variable, your observed phenomena. That's a hypothesis. This is a stupid proof given to you by a retard known as Wolfie who does not understand science.
I'll be back in like a minute. I gotta get the door.
Yeah, perfect timing. My opportunity to round out this show, unless somebody else on the panel wants to add something to end with.
Well, the reason that I asked them about the rotation in the first place is because
I gotta get the door. I'll be back in like a minute. Or
Just shut up, Wiggles. I asked the other panel members if they wanted to sum up in your absence. So piss off and answer your door, you dumb fuck.
I wanted to ask him about the quote that I posted in the chat, and I was wondering why not more people bring this up. Your question about the proof of rotation, it's almost like a trap for them, because you ask them for the proof of rotation, they give some ridiculous answer that doesn't prove anything. And according to Einstein, all this, the proof of rotation is not perceptible.
I'm back. This is still recording or no?
Nothing to worry about. Wiggles is back. Okay.
Is Nathan still there?
That was the only thing that I had to comment on.
I didn't hear. Wiggles interrupted both the beginning and end after declaring that he wasn't going to be here. Maybe you could repeat it.
Sure. So I just wanted to comment on the quote that I posted in the chat, and I was curious as to why you don't bring this up more often. And your rotation question is almost like a trap, because you ask people for the proof of rotation, and they give up some ridiculous proof they think to them that proves rotation. And Einstein himself stated that no terrestrial experiment can show the observation of axial rotation of the Earth, because everything is relative. So you're either saying that Wolfie is right or Einstein is right, and neither can, they both can't be true.
And with that, I'm going to say, first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the debating panel for making this after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the audiences in either Nathan Oakley or Nathan Oakley 1980 YouTube channels. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!